Hey guys, Russian Rider here. Beautiful, beautiful afternoon, actually closer to evening. Got off work and I decided it's about time for me to do a long-term review on this gorgeous bike, FZ-07. I've had it since right when it came out here in the US. I think I got it less than a month after it came out, something like that. But before I get on, I just want to walk around. Sorry, it's a little bit dirty. It rained unexpectedly and has a little bit of dirt on it. But as you see, it's a pearl white color. Initially, if you saw my first review, right when I got it, I wanted to get a different color, but this color really grew on me, and I really like it. Plus, I got a white jacket to match. I have a Puig Windscreen, which does help a little bit on the highway, but I actually like the way it looks. And I have, let's see what else you can see right here, the Yoshimura, if I'm pronouncing it right, tail Eliminator Kit. Now I have a review video on that, and I have an installation guide, so you guys can check that out with the LED turn signals there. And to match, a Yoshimura Exhaust, which I also have a review on and a detailed, really good installation video as well, so you guys can check that out as well. I'm going to plug all my videos. Awesome exhaust. This thing really turns this motorcycle from a scooter to a really nice sounding, very powerful sounding motorcycle. So I love the exhaust. Hidden inside, I have EJK Kit. Well, here's the injectors, if you may or may not be able to see them. But that tunes the fuel and air ratio to give you a little bit more power and make sure the fueling is right for the exhaust. It's not required if you have the little plug in the exhaust, the silencer, but it's definitely worth it. So that's hidden up in the back. And haven't changed out these turn signals, always meant to. I have LED ones and little adapters on there, but I never really got around to doing it, so I guess maybe it wasn't as big of a deal for me. But here's the bike. Let's go ahead and turn it on. And I know this video is titled 2-year review. I haven't had this for 2 years. Sorry guys, almost 2 years. I felt like 1.75 or 1.82 doesn't sound very good, so I just rounded up a little bit to 2 years. You guys see how the bike turns on? Bam, you got this cool little animation. And start her up. Hopefully you guys can hear that. I was riding it not too long ago, so it should be warmed up. I had to leave and I'm on the bike, so let's see if you guys can hear the exhaust. Sounds so good. So good. I love the indicators. I love how you have your gear, your mile per hour, your RPMs. It shows your instant mile per gallon, your average mile per gallon, air temp, engine temp, everything else. You have your time, you have your fuel. So very cool. All right, let's head off. If you want to really hear how the exhaust sounds, check out my exhaust review video. I have a really good sound clip on there. So I've owned this bike for close to 2 years. And initially, I had a really good review. I had lots of good words about it. I really loved almost everything about the bike. The only complaints, as far as I remember, is one, the back brake could feel a little bit better. It feels a little bit mushy, and it's not super powerful, but I understand a lot of bikes are like that. So, not a very big deal. Come on, second gear. Just so you know, I'm not paying attention as much as I usually do. It's hard to think and talk and ride and everything else. So, if I go into neutral in an accident, that's why. So the rear brake doesn't matter very much. It's average, I guess. It's not great. It's average. If this bike was 12 grand, I would expect something better. But for $69.90 MSRP, it's just fine. Now the other complaint I had was the windscreen. Not the windscreen. Well, I did complain a little bit. There's a lot of wind, but you can't complain. It's a naked bike. I complained about the exhaust. That's another thing where you can't really complain that much about, because most stock bikes don't have very loud or good sounding exhaust. Crotch rockets, you have a lot of engine noise, which sounds good. This bike, when you buy it, it sounds like a scooter almost. It's super quiet. You don't have that same engine noise you do from a crotch rocket, a 4-cylinder that revs up really high. Yeah. That exhaust is a very easy thing to fix. Not another complaint. So overall, am I happy with this bike after having it for, close to 2 years? Do I regret purchasing this motorcycle? And am I bored of it, or am I tired of it? And yes, I am riding in 6th gear going 35 miles an hour, and the bike has plenty of enough power. Let's go to 3rd. Plenty enough power to do that. There's lots of torque down low. Alright, to answer the question, am I bored of this bike? No, I am not bored of this bike. Do I regret buying this bike? Not at all. The longer I've had this bike, the more I kind of appreciate it. This bike, I firmly believe, is the best bang for the buck for an average person. Who's revving at me over there? If you're just getting into bikes, or you want something that's not expensive, fun to ride, easy to ride, good gas mileage, good handling, quick, lots of fun, everything, all those things combined, I think this is something that meets. It's like the perfect middle point. Good looks. Like I said, I definitely don't regret buying this bike. I like it more so than when I bought it, and it's awesome. It's awesome. That's why these things have been selling so well. They've been selling extremely well. I had to go a couple hours out of the city, and I live in the 2nd biggest city in Washington State, to buy this. So what should I talk about? I guess let's talk about the downsides. Let's just get the downsides out of the way, additionally to what I first mentioned. So first, back brake. I mean, you could probably improve that. Exhaust, you should definitely improve that. Wind noise, well, it's a naked bike. I got myself this little guy at front, and it does help out a little bit, and I like the looks as well, but that's depending on your style. What else could I be a little bit picky about? And I'll try to be picky. The clutch, that's one thing that I had a hard time getting used to. It's not really hard, but it did take some getting used to. It grabs at the very end, more so than in the beginning, so I did stall it a good amount of times before I got used to the clutch. And it took a little bit longer than I thought getting used to it. I don't know if this is just for a 15 model, maybe right they came out. I know you can adjust it a little bit. I didn't mess with mine, I just got used to it. But I think they could fix that. I just test drove a Victory Octane, and that clutch was absolutely amazing. So let's see, instant mile per gallon right here. 5th gear, 38 miles an hour, showing 64. Let's go into 6th. Let's go, make sure nobody's behind me. 35 miles an hour, showing 72. So other than that, complaints, I really can't complain about much on this bike. I mean, the build quality overall is great. I mean, some of the plastics don't feel really good quality comparing it to $12,000 bikes, but once again, it's not a $12,000 bike. The mirrors, they don't do super well. Basically when I ride, I just put my elbow closer to me, like tuck my elbow in, and then I see just fine. But just like this, it's kind of harder to see, which you can swap out, of course. I'm 6 foot, 200 pounds. The bike fits me perfectly. If you're shorter, it's going to fit you well. I've heard people that are 6'2", and then they say the bike fits them pretty well as well. Other than that, I can't complain that much. I'm not a really crazy person in the corners. I don't push the bike to its limits, so I can't complain about the suspension. Some people say it is a bit soft, and they would upgrade it. And if you're a really, really hard rider, you might want to do that, or if you're really pushing it to its limits. I've never had a problem with it. I think if you're somebody who rides a bike that hard, you're probably going to have other bikes that you're going to want to look into. Something that's made more specific for that, with riding position and everything else, something a little bit more expensive, R6 or whatever else. But for me, honestly, I've never felt limited by this bike when I'm having fun you know, on nice twisty roads. Yeah, like I said, I don't really push it extremely hard. I don't push it to the limit. I'll go. So overall, I think it's an awesome bike. As far as a starter bike, I think this is an excellent starter bike as well. You could go with the R3, which is an awesome bike, or go with, you know, something else. But one thing that I've heard from owners of, let's say a 250, a 300, they buy it and then 3 months later they get used to it and they want more power. That's one thing you don't get with this bike. This bike is just slightly heavier than one of those bikes at, you know, 250, 300, but it's still just as easy to ride. The riding position is awesome on it. You sit more upright. You don't sit completely upright, but close to it, so it's very comfortable. Get on a little bit. It's the actual power is very linear, so you don't get scared. You don't just get up to a certain RPM and fly off. So it's very, very easy to control. It's super, super nimble. 397 wet weight, you know, with fuel and everything. And the main thing compared to buying some other starter bike is you won't, you know, once you're used to the bike, you're used to the power, and you want to have a little bit of fun, you don't have to step into something more expensive. You don't have to sell your bike and get something, you know, more powerful. You have something that's more powerful. And even now, I don't crave any more power or any more speed than this bike after a couple of years. So that's why I think it's an awesome, awesome first bike. It's very easy to ride. It's not that expensive. Just overall, it's easy to learn, and then once you've learned, you still have the power accessible to you. And if you don't want that power, you don't need to use it. I've averaged just under 50 miles per gallon the whole time I've had it. There's a readout. Let's see if I can get to it. Right now it says my average is 49.3. So that's not completely accurate. I mean, I had an Infinity that was literally to the dot. Like if it said 20.1, I would check it myself manually, it'd be 20.1. So I say this is about 1 to 2 miles per gallon difference. But it's close, and so I've just went just under 50, and that's mainly city riding, and I'm always getting on it. Like right now, I'm just cruising. I usually would be having a little bit more fun than this. The rating on this bike is 58 miles per gallon. I have absolutely no doubt that you can achieve that if you're trying to go for gas mileage. It's a mix of city highway. When I'm going about 60, 65, I think the bike shows about 65 miles per gallon on the instant readout. So I say it'd be somewhere in that 65 mile per gallon range if you're doing, you know, 60, 65 miles per hour just cruising. So very good gas mileage, and the bike has a ton of torque. Brakes work well. So right there, for a good couple seconds, the tire was off the ground. I wasn't trying to pop a wheelie, but the tire pulls up. If you just floor it in first, the tire pulls up. If you just jerk the throttle a little bit in second, you can get the tire up. It won't do it on accident. You won't, you know, on a more powerful bike, you won't just have it on accident, but if you want to, you can very easily without touching the clutch. And if you just want to go as fast as you possibly can without pulling up the front tire, you just kind of lean forward a little bit, and you could do that as well. So there's people wheeling these things and having a ton of fun. I try not to do that. I have a couple kids and a wife that need me, so I try to be responsible, but I still like to have a little bit of fun. Okay, so I'm almost home. What else can I say? I don't know, guys. You ask me whatever questions you have. I'll try to answer them in the comment section below. I've had this thing almost 2 years. Great gas mileage, great power, great torque, very easy to ride. You don't get bored of it. Not expensive to maintain or to purchase. Great looks. Not very much complaints at all, and the complaints I do have are really hard to be they're not really complaints, just nitpicking a little bit, and even then you can't really nitpick at a bike that's this price brand new. If you shop around a little bit, you could, you know, you get a good price used as well. So really, really happy with this bike. I do not regret it whatsoever at all. The one thing too that I could do something better with is if I had a cruiser, because my wife would like to go with me a lot more often than she does now, and she'd be a lot more comfortable. But once again, you can't really complain about this bike because that's the style of bike it is. You're not going to get a cruiser on an FZ-07. It's just the style of bike it is. So if you're looking for something like this in this price range, I really don't think you can go wrong with one of these. I really, really don't. So thank you guys for watching. Let me know what questions you have. I'll do my best to answer them. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. And if you want to see more videos, I have a ton of videos out. Check out my other videos. Check my installation guides I have for the different parts, the reviews that I have out. There's a lot of good content, a lot of helpful content if you go ahead and pick one of these up that a lot of people have enjoyed watching. So thank you guys, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.